Hey there. In this video, we're going to be talking about navigating the ever-changing social media landscape in order to add at least $200,000 to your bottom line. And the reality with every single social media platform, Meta, LinkedIn, you name it, is that they go through at least 1 to 2 major algorithm changes per day. And you even get massive rollouts of code multiple times a year, which means that something that worked yesterday is not going to work today. And it's going to affect your ad campaign performance. It's going to affect a ton of things. And you're going to find that you are making less money than ever before because of all of these blipping social media changes and algorithm changes. Let's talk. So one of the biggest challenges in the marketing arena is that it is changing massively every single day. And in a given year, Google may roll out 600 to 800 changes or more that affect things like search engine optimization, that affect ads, that affect a ton of different things. And these platforms do not tell you when they are rolling stuff out. And the only way that we find out what is going on is when we are plugged into the system and we are aware of algorithm changes. Now, I'm in a unique position myself that allows me to deal with algorithm changes because I belong to a number of different Facebook groups. I have a ton of contacts, and my background is actually in software engineering, which means that I understand inherently the coding algorithms that are going on underneath the user interface, because most of my career has actually been spent in designing user interfaces. Tech geek for saying, yeah, I understand what's going on because I've written the blasted code to make it happen. So that gives me kind of an unfair advantage when it comes to navigating algorithm changes, ads changes, social media changes, and all of the things. What does that mean? So for many small businesses, what we are seeing right now is that the cost for advertising and reach is much lower than it's ever been. And the cost for advertising is higher than it's been. And the return on investment is much lower than it has been in the past. You need somebody who really understands what is going on under the covers and is constantly adapting and changing to stay up with all of the changes. Because here's the things, you can get as frustrated as you want with Google and Yahoo and Facebook and all of these platforms. But the reality is you do not own those platforms. You are merely a guest on those platforms, and you exist on those platforms at the will of those platforms, which is why I recommend keeping your own email list. However, when we are marketing nowadays, we are reliant on using other people's platforms to get the word out to our customers, unless we're going to go door to door, knocking and networking face to face and doing those things. However, it has gotten harder than ever before to effectively network locally without having a substantial online presence. And that means you have to figure out how to navigate social media, ads, all the things, SEO, yada, yada, yada. And the landscape is constantly changing, and it's not necessarily changing for the better, because these platforms are always trying to determine what the best user experience is. And sometimes they get it right. And a lot of times what they're doing is they're rolling out bug fixes to prevent the trolls and the really bad people in the online world. So it's not always for positive reasons that they're rolling out all of these changes. So what do you do? you hire somebody who knows what they're doing, or you invest a lot of your own time in figuring out the ever changing social media landscape. I've been online on Facebook since about 2008, and I started my Facebook group, the Women's Entrepreneur Network, in April of 2015. Trying to remember, I think April 17th of 2015 is the right date. And the reality is that so many things have come and gone, and so many changes have happened in the online space in the 8 years since I rolled out my group. Things that worked 2 or 3 or 4 years ago are so 2, 3 or 4 years ago in terms of marketing and social media. Things that you could do 2 or 3 or 4 years ago on social media are nowhere near the same things that you can do now. And the restrictions have only become more prevalent. And it is harder than ever before. Now, there are certain things that have rolled out, but honestly, we don't know how long Facebook or LinkedIn are going to allow us to have those things, or even going to give precedence to those things. So I'm talking about a blue check mark, or I'm talking about being a creator on LinkedIn, or setting up newsletters on LinkedIn. So certain things get rolled out and then they get taken away, or they become obsolete. So if you look at something like Threads that came out this year, there was a ton of, people going crazy over Threads. And yet it is basically a platform that is essentially dead on arrival. People were excited about Threads for the first little bit, and it slowly grows. But for the most part, it is not the most active platform. Likewise, if you think about a platform like Clubhouse, I know so many people and so many clients who got super active on Clubhouse in the beginning, and it was absolutely phenomenal for early adopters. But it is also essentially a defunct social media platform. So staying on top of what is working and what is not working, and focusing on the constant learning and the constant changing and the constant algorithm changes that happen is an important part of your marketing and operations going forward. And you can either hire somebody who's going to help you stay on top of it, or you can figure it out yourself. Good luck figuring it out yourself, honestly. If you don't have a background with social media, with programming, with algorithms, it's going to be very difficult to figure out some of these things. And it's not, me trying to be a pain. It's just the fact that what I see with a lot of people is that it is an incredibly frustrating environment. Whether you're running a software company, or a landscape firm, or a carpet cleaning company, what worked a couple of years ago for search engine optimization or on social media is simply not working now. The cost per lead has gone up dramatically, and we have to be super creative in order to get people's attention, and super, visual. And a lot of things that are taught people in social media classes are frankly not very effective. And I've had so-called experts that come to me and they're like, oh, you need to do X, Y, or Z with your social media. And I'm like, well, show me how many followers you have, show me how many connections you have, and show me the reach that you're getting with this advice, and then I'll show you mine. And it's kind of that, I'll show you mine if you'll show me yours. And it's not really a great look. And the reality for a lot of people that are giving advice is that it's merely opinion based. They don't have any evidence to back it up. They're not drawing numbers, and they're not measuring performance. And one of the things that we do as part of my business is that we have a maniacal focus on grabbing numbers. We care about how many clicks, we care about how many interactions we're getting, because ultimately at the end of the day, we understand that they may not be the right clicks, or they may not be the right numbers, but we have to track every bit of information that we can track through the ever-changing social media landscape. And that's what tools are built to do. And unfortunately, a lot of small businesses just don't have access to those tools, and they don't know how to set them up, and they don't know what to do with those tools in order to be the most effective. So that's where I come in, helping you hook up the tools, get the right tools, understand the tools, give you access to the tools, and give you some good advice on best practices and when it makes sense to invest in certain things. And honestly, it's like most things in business, it depends. Sometimes an investment is absolutely going to be worth it, and sometimes it is absolutely not going to be worth it. Knowing the difference is key in making things successful. So, how do you know if it's going to be worth doing? Well, it depends on what your profit margin is. It depends on how many customers you have. It depends on what your current revenue numbers look like. It depends on where you're trying to go for revenue numbers. It also depends, like if we were putting tracking code on a website, um, it may make sense for certain businesses and very much not for others that are at exactly the same place in their growth because each and every single business is going to be different. I wish I could say that you could follow a certain model and understand when and how to use certain tools on social media in particular. Unfortunately, that is not really the case. So I hope that this is helpful information for you and understand that the social media platforms are really just trying to improve your social media experience. And unfortunately, things go sideways. The people that are writing the code are that they're humans and they make mistakes. And a lot of times they don't have the most experience, and sometimes they do. And, part of the way that code development happens now with agile methodologies and rolling things out is that you become the test subject because they don't have huge test beds anymore. And that is how software platforms like Meta roll out their changes. You are their guinea pig. And good luck navigating it and good luck staying on top of it. And you may get changes one day and your friend may get changes the next. So we will chat soon. I hope that you will book a call with me. And I hope you are having a fabulous week so far.